First things first, how exactly do we define a civilization? We're going to source National Geographic for this one. According to them, civilizations share the following characteristics. They have large population centers, they have monumental architecture and unique art styles, they have shared communication strategies, they have systems put in place for administering territories, they have a complex division of labor, and they have social and economic class divisions. You'll also notice that most, if not all, civilizations flourished around bodies of water. That's just because water equals natural irrigation, source of drinkable water, natural plumbing, you get the gist. You're watching Explore Mode, and today we're diving into 4 of the oldest civilizations in the world. Let's start with the oldest civilization ever, the Mesopotamian Civilization. This civilization emerged between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in the Middle East, more specifically in modern-day Iraq and Kuwait. It lasted from 3500 BC to 500 BC, and it's known as the cradle of civilizations due to the many early societies and empires that arose from it, which include the Sumerians, Akkadians, Persians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Human settlements in Mesopotamia date all the way back to the Paleolithic era, known as the period of early human cultural development. And boy, did the Mesopotamian people develop. In the year 3500 BC, the Mesopotamian city of Uruk had a population of around 80,000 people, making it the largest city of its time. Mesopotamians had other things going on too. They were dabbling in metalwork, literature, textile weaving, irrigation, agriculture, the wheel, sailboats, cuneiform text, which is one of the earliest writing systems in human history, the sexagesimal math system, which we continue to use today to define time, astrological measurements, and even geographical coordinates. This is the perfect time to shout out to our previous video on the history of timekeeping. We cover how the Sumerians used the sexagesimal system, early timekeeping methods, modern timekeeping devices, etc., etc. Click on the card or check out the description box below if you want to learn more. They also created the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest and best preserved written legal codes created by King Hammurabi, who reigned from 1792 to 1750 BC during the Babylonian dynasty. Actually, let's get into an explore fact. You know the old saying, an eye for an eye? Yeah, that was an actual law in the Code of Hammurabi. Law number 196 stated, if a man destroys the eye of another man, they shall destroy his eye. This kind of law is known as lex talionis, or law of retaliation. Essentially, the punishment of an unlawful act needs to be equivalent somehow to the offense committed. The Code of Hammurabi didn't just cover eye destruction either. There are 282 laws carved onto the diorite stela, covering agriculture, property damage, murder, marital affairs, extramarital affairs, women's rights, whatever that meant at that time, slave rights, wages, slander, trade, and many more. Speaking of trade, the first long-distance trade took place between Mesopotamia and the Indus River Valley Civilization, the next civilization up in our list. This civilization is named after the river system it was located around, which is now modern-day northeast Afghanistan, Pakistan, and northwest India. Its existence spanned from the year 3300 to 1300 BC. Like the Mesopotamians, the Indus River Valley Civilization also had a writing system, called the Indus script. There is one problem though, no one has been able to decipher their script. Therefore, the knowledge we have today on this civilization is heavily reliant on archaeological evidence. Luckily for us, this civilization left a lot behind, including 2 of its major cities, Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. The remains of these 2 cities show extraordinary organization, engineering, urban planning, and architecture for their time. Both cities were built on a grid-based design, and their buildings were made of bricks, clay bricks in Harappa and fired and mortared brick in Mohenjo-Daro. Mohenjo-Daro was the largest of the 2 cities, covering 500 acres. In fact, it's the largest city of the civilization and one of the largest urban centers of the ancient world. The city is divided into 2 areas, the citadel and the lower city. The citadel contains one of the most remarkable archaeological remnants of the city, an 83 square meter bathing pool fed by the Indus River called the Great Bath, which leads us to the explore fact for this civilization. Sanitation, sewage management, and water systems are three things that the people of the Indus River Valley Civilization had in check. Mohenjo-daro alone had 700 freshwater wells inside its walls, but the most remarkable development of the Indus River Valley Civilization was its drainage system. Most buildings and homes had their own bathrooms, which were in turn connected to a centralized drainage system connected by several brick-made underground drains. By the force of good old trusty gravity, waste would be carried out of the city or into large cesspits that would be periodically emptied, keeping their homes and city squeaky clean. Oh, and how do we know they traded with the Mesopotamians? Well, long story short, archaeological evidence shows that Indus jewelry and large seals with none other than Indus script on them have been found in Mesopotamian territories, suggesting that these two civilizations were in fact connected and making business together. At the same time Mohenjo-daro was being constructed, around 5,080 kilometers to the west, pyramids were being raised. That brings us to our next civilization, the Ancient Egyptian Civilization. You've probably heard of it. A lot can be said about the ancient Egyptians, most of which has been extensively yet questionably covered by Hollywood. Although we can't blame them for being obsessed with the Egyptians, not only is the civilization arguably one of the most artistically developed, but it also went through vast transformations over the millennia. There's a lot to say about the ancient Egyptians, so I'll run you through some basic facts. There's still one more civilization to go after all. So, basic facts. The Egyptian civilization grew in the lower reaches of the Nile River, in what is currently modern-day Egypt. Its history is divided into three periods. Disclaimer: the dates of these periods vary depending on who you source and whether or not they include certain periods. We're citing the Ancient History Encyclopedia for this. The Old Kingdom period spanned from 2613 BC to 2181 BC. It's also known as the Age of the Pyramid Builders, as it was during this period that the pyramids of Giza were built. Specifically, during the 4th dynasty under the rule of pharaohs Neferu, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. In fact, the Sphinx was built for King Khafre, and the Great Pyramid of Giza for King Khufu himself. Then came the Middle Kingdom, which lasted from 2040 BC to 1782 BC. Many reforms took place during these years, but this period mainly stands out for its literary and artistic growth. Egyptian glyphs became widespread and used to tell stories during this time. The New Kingdom, which spanned from 1570 BC to 1069 BC, is probably the most well-documented period of Egyptian civilization due to the expansion of the ancient Egyptian written language that took place in the previous period. The pharaohs who reigned during this period are among the most well-known today. These include Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, King Tutankhamun, who became famous after his tomb was discovered in 1922, and Ramses the Great. These larger periods were interrupted 3 times by smaller intermediate periods, but maybe that's another explore mode on its own. The ancient Egyptians also had a lot to do with the history of timekeeping. Sundials, water clocks, and the division of the days all came from them. Want to learn more? You know where the card button is. Next on our list is another civilization with a thing for pyramids, the Mayan Civilization, one of the most prosperous pre-colonial peoples in the Americas. And no, before you ask, they did not predict the end of the world. Long story short, their long count calendar stopped in 2012 because it marked the end of a period. Did it signify the end of the world and the beginning of the apocalypse? No. Glad we got that out of the way. Moving on. Mayan people settled in southern Mexico and northern Central America in around 1500 BC. As the civilization developed, so did its cities and religious buildings. Its largest urban centers are Tikal, located in modern northern Guatemala, Copan, located in western Honduras, and Palenque, located in southern Mexico, each of which was ruled by a king. The Mayans were heavily religious, and their art and architecture were deeply connected to their beliefs. Most of the pyramids at the center of their cities had divine and astronomical purposes. As a matter of fact, the Maya were exceptional at mathematics and predicting celestial movements. Let's jump into an explore fact. The Mayan people were pretty darn good at a lot of things. First off, they built complex cities and temples without modern inventions like the wheel. They had their own mathematical system, and they invented the concept of zero. Their hieroglyphic writing system is the only writing system developed by a Mesoamerican civilization, and their calendar systems were extremely accurate. They could predict solstices and eclipses, and their calculations of the lunar month were even more accurate than those of Greek astronomer Ptolemy down to the decimals. Their preferred method of astronomical tool? Their eyes. No, really, they used naked eye astronomy, which is pretty impressive considering Ptolemy had access to tools such as armillary spheres and quadrants. Although the ancient Mayan Empire eventually fell, the Maya people did not. On the contrary, they have survived colonization and bloody civil wars. According to the Ancient History Encyclopedia, there are 6 million of them today who continue keeping this ancestral civilization alive. Thanks for watching Explore Mode. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button. Also, check out our playlist if you want to explore more with us. But before you leave, make sure to hit the subscribe and bell button so you get a notification whenever we upload a new episode. See you next week, and in the meantime, remember to keep your Explore Mode on.